Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Christine. If you're new here, I'm a second generation homeschooling mama of 3 kids, and today I'm going to be sharing with you our term 3 homeschool update. Alright, I'm feeling a little bit of a hot mess today, if I'm being totally honest with you. I just finished having some lunch and I just feel like windswept. I washed my hair last night. This is like so not to do with the homeschool update, but I washed my hair last night and I have naturally curly hair, or like wavy curly hair, and like styled it and everything. And then I usually pin up my hair before I go to bed after I've done that. Otherwise my curls are just, wow, you'll hear about that. I never ended up doing that last night because I wasn't feeling good. So I went to sleep like just straight away and didn't even think about anything. And this morning, my word, it was interesting. So my hair feels like floofy, and we've been outside gardening, which is a good thing, but you know, being outside also just adds to it. So feeling a little bit all over the place, but I wanted to sit down and share with you our term 3 homeschool update, how term 3 went. We're officially halfway through our homeschool year, which is crazy to me. Anyone else feel like the older you get, the faster the years go by? I swear they do. They're so busy. First of all, we're right in the throes of winter here in New Zealand. Our homeschool year goes along with the calendar year. So we start in February and finish in like November, December. So right now it's July. And it is not my favorite time of year, if I'm going to be totally honest. I've come to realize this about myself. I just really struggle in the winter. I think it's the dark. I think a lot of people feel this way. It's the dark evenings. You know, it gets dark so early. And I actually love cold winter days because where I live, if it's cold, it's sunny. Like, you usually get like beautiful sunshine and it heats up the house and the kids can play outside. But if it's like overcast or rainy, then I'm like, oh my word, because my kids are all inside and it's loud, and I don't know, I struggle with it. And then there's sickness, you know, like just the typical winter bugs. So I'll be honest and say that I finished this term feeling really burnt out. I'm still feeling that way. And it's a combination of things. It's not homeschool specific. It's probably the time of the year. And here we're having a really bad flu season on top of you know what. And so it's just, there's been a lot of staffing issues at my husband's work. And so it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And I'm the kind of person who is a very high achiever. I set high standards for myself, and I have overcommitted on things. Like I definitely have. It's not easy for me to step back. So I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this video, but I just wanted to like preface it by saying that like a lot of other people probably wouldn't be feeling these things. And these aren't homeschool specific. I'm not feeling burnt out from homeschool. In fact, I really enjoyed our homeschool this term. And part of that is because we did a big schedule change, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And I love the curriculum we're using at the moment. Like, it's just been a big blessing. And so, yeah, let's talk a little bit about homeschool curriculum. Nothing changed like outside of, I don't think we dropped anything. The only thing that we changed is our language arts, and we just went from the old version to the new version. So, except for Annie. Annie's like a whole other thing. So, we switched from old level 1 to the new level 1, and Annie, my kindergartner, she was doing a Becca, and like that was not terrible, but it was basically, I was using it because I couldn't find anything else out there what I wanted, and the new Good and the Beautiful language arts is what I wanted. And so I've switched her over to that now, and we're doing that. We might do a little bit of the Abeka worksheets over the summer for just like, you know, review and just to break up our days a bit over summer. So yeah, nothing else really changed. I really enjoyed all of our subjects. I'm loving the new language arts. Like, it's such a huge blessing. And it's just delightful. The kids love it. I really enjoy it. It is honestly an answer to prayer. So that has been really great. Our homeschool group has been going really well. So we have a few homeschool families that get together every week on a Tuesday, and we just hang out usually for at least a couple of hours. If the weather's good, we often go to the skate park, but if it's been not so nice, it's wintertime, so sometimes that's how it is, we will meet at each other's houses. And this last week, it's this week, which is our school break, but our schedule's not the same as the school schedule. So they all came around to our house. We had 3 homeschool families come around, and I was really nervous because our house is not huge and our yard is not massive. Like, it's plenty spacious, but it's just not huge. And I was really worried it was going to bucket with rain the whole time. It did not, but even if it had, it was just such a blessing to have those families in my home, and it was something that I prayed for years, like ever since we moved here 8 years ago. I just felt like it was going to be impossible to find that community, and now we have it, and oh my word, I just want to cry when I think about it because it's such a huge blessing. And we, at the moment, are not doing any structured learning on those days. It's just a chance for us homeschool moms to get together and chat and catch up, and the kids to play. And as much as I'm saying there's no structured learning, the kids are learning plenty from each other, you know. There's so many good things about kids playing with one another, and yeah, that's been great. So my kids have made some really good friends in that group, and I've made some really good friends, and I have good friends, but nobody locally, and so to have really good friends that I know I could call on if I was stuck with something or just needed some encouragement is huge. I have lived without that for 8 years, and it's not something I take for granted. So very, very grateful for that. Let's talk about the schedule change, because this was the biggest change in our term 3, and it is something that has changed our homeschool day for the better. So before the big change, what we would do is we'd do our group subjects first, then we'd break for morning tea, and then I would work one-on-one with the older kids who are 7 and 5 and do their work with them. And so my goal was always to be finished by lunchtime. Something that I decided to change to was doing all of our group subjects on one day and then just doing individual subjects the rest of the week. And it was Abby from Rooted and Rest who inspired this change. She has their Enrichment Monday where they do all of their work. And part of the reason I thought about changing was because I was struggling, if we, for whatever reason, had to skip a day, the more the week went on, the tired I got, and I just would be like, let's just skip it or whatever. And I didn't like that. But I also that it was just a habit. It was happening a lot because, you get disruptions, and I was tired and I didn't want to just, keep fitting stuff in. So her thing is that if she does it on a Monday, it's more likely to get done, which she's totally right. So we now do all of our group subjects on a Monday. So that sort of includes history, geography, science. We do things like hymn a couple times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, because that's just something we kind of do in the morning. So hymn study, but picture study. I'm trying to think what else there is. I don't know. There's probably a couple of other smaller things that we do. Character training that we do a couple times a week, but that's it's 5 minutes. We do all of that on a Monday, and that has been so good. Oh, and art. That's the other thing we've been doing. That has been so good. So we get that all done. We're usually done by 11:30. And then the rest of the week, I've just been doing language arts, math, and handwriting with my 2 older kids. And so we still do our scripture memory and our read aloud and our poetry over breakfast time. That's just something I really, really enjoy doing with the kids. And so we do that every day. But then Tuesday through Thursday, we're doing language arts, math, and handwriting. And with the new versions of both math and language arts from The Good and the Beautiful, they set it up in a way that there is individual work or independent work that your kids can do on their own. And so that has literally basically given us a whole hour back in our homeschool day. So we're finishing by 11 o'clock usually at the latest on those days. And that's usually with a late start. So I'm kind of laid back with when we start in the mornings, especially in winter, because I am just slow on the winter mornings. I get up at 6, but I just like to have a really slow morning. And so we've been doing that, and so I'll start Annie on, I might give her, or I might start Jack on his independent work in his math book and just sort of explain what he needs to do, and then I'll leave him to do that and go and do math with Annie or a bit of her language arts lesson. And I like that the language arts and the math are kind of split up into little activities, and so I can kind of go back and forth between the kids, and sometimes we just do things later in the day if we need to, but it's just worked out really, really well this term, and I have enjoyed it immensely. So I'm very grateful for the new schedule. It's given me another hour in my day. that I didn't have before. So that's been really good, and the kids are enjoying having the extra time to play as well. What else did I want to talk about? Our read alouds, that's what I wanted to chat about. So we just finished the third book in the Chronicles of Narnia series, and we're all loving it. Like, I love those books. I have never read any of them, actually. Like, I knew the Chronicles, like Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I knew that. I knew the movie. My mom might have read it to us when we were kids. She probably did. But I hadn't read any of the others. In fact, I don't even know if I've watched the movies of the others. So it has just been really fun for me and the kids to all do that together. Our other read aloud, I usually pick 2 a term. Our other read aloud was Alice in Wonderland. And let's just say I've never enjoyed the movie, and I hoped that by reading the book I would enjoy the story more. I did not. The kids were like, they listened to it and they were engaged, but I don't think, like, we didn't finish the last 2 chapters because I was like, like, it was just, I don't know. I just didn't really like it. I don't like the story. It's confusing and weird to me. And it feels like when you're in one of those weird, when you're having a nightmare at night and nothing makes sense and you're trying to make things seem logical and it's just not happening. That is what the book is like, and I don't enjoy that. So I'm not like a huge abstract thinker, so it just was not a win for us. This next term, we're just going to carry on with the Chronicles of Narnia series, and then I'm also going to do a Christian Heroes of the Faith book. I haven't decided which one we're going to do yet, but I've got a couple, and I'm thrilled to say that our local library has tons of them, which is so unexpected because New Zealand libraries tend to be a lot more secular, and there's a lot of books that are recommended in like US curriculums and just by US homeschoolers we do not have here. So I was thrilled when I saw them. So we're going to start on that next term because I think my kids will really enjoy them and they're so good for them. So that was how our read alouds went, schedule went, schooling went. We had a little bit of sickness thrown in at one point, but we got through it. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I just get terrible anxiety when my kids get sick. Not because this is going to sound terrible, not because I'm worried about them, because I'm not usually overly worried about my kids when they're sick, because I'm a trained nurse. I kind of know the things to look for, but just like how long it's going to go on for. Because when my kids get sick, I feel like my world just gets like this big because you have to isolate, and it's even more of a thing in the current times we live in. And so I really struggle with that, and I just feel like we're going to be trapped in our house for like ever, which is obviously unreasonable, but that is just how I think during those times. So that's like a personal battle I have to work through, but thankfully it was nothing too major that we dealt with, but we just had a couple of times where kids were not well, and I was not well once, I think. Obviously nothing too lasting because I can barely remember what it was about at this point. I think it was all tummy stuff. So yeah, and I'm just praying the Lord keeps us in good health because there's so much sickness around us at the moment. And even if he doesn't, that's, like I'm trying to adjust my mindset that like it's okay. We can just take time off and rest. And I have like tried to prep so that we're ready for it, should it come. There are meals in the freezer and things like that. All right, I'm just going to check my list because I did write down things to make sure that I didn't forget anything. Oh, yes. Okay, the last thing I was going to talk about is just my youngest daughter, Charlotte. So she is 3.5. She'll be 4 in October. And I have not done any formal schoolwork with her. In fact, I've just done nothing with her. Half the time lately, she hasn't even been up at the table with us. She'll just go off and play. And that's fine. She's 3. Like, I really do not care. However, I wanted to do something a little more intentional with her, not necessarily for the educational aspect, but because she is my last, and I'm just really feeling like these days are fleeting, and I want to be very intentional about spending some one-on-one time with her. And because I homeschool the older two, they kind of get that a wee bit more than she does, and so I just wanted to be intentional about that. And so I'm going to be sharing a video all about it, but for the next 3 terms to finish off the year, we're going to be using before 5 in a row. And the reason that I picked that is because I didn't want workbooks. I didn't want any pressure for her to have to sit down and do work. She probably would enjoy it, but that's what next year will be for us. And so I was like, no, I want something where I can just sit and snuggle and we can make some really good memories and just have some fun with it. And so that is what I have done. I will be making a video with all the books I've got and like how I plan to use it. and all of that. So keep an eye out for it. But that is what I plan to do for the rest of our school year. I'll only probably be doing it with her like 2 or 3 days a week. And we'll be making one book last like a couple of weeks because I don't want to rush it. I just don't feel the need to. So I think that's about everything. We've got some extracurriculars going on. So one of my girls does ballet, and that's been growing really well. And then one of my kids wants to do gymnastics next term. So I think we're going to do that because it seems nice. I've actually got a homeschool group for gymnastics there now because there are so many homeschoolers where we are now, which is just amazing. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. But it's just those 2 things, and then our homeschool group on Tuesday, and that's us. And our weeks are very, very, very busy. So I don't feel like we need to add anything more in. Yeah. Oh, I was going to mention Jack does piano. So I am a pianist and I used to be a piano teacher. But I decided to use Hoffman Academy with him because I was just like, I cannot put one more thing on my plate at this point. Well, that worked pretty well, but it got to a point where I was like, I think he could be doing better if I was working one-on-one with him. And so at this point, I've canceled the premium subscription. He can still access the free videos on there, but I'm actually using the Alfred's piano books to teach him, which is what I used when I was teaching. And so I'm just doing that with him once a week, and then he practices every day. So that was the other like extracurricular thing that has changed. So lots of little changes, but nothing like too dramatic, and I feel like overall it's positive. And now I've just got to get through the next term because this next term is the last of winter, really. And then it starts to warm up here and the days start getting a little bit longer and I go back into my happy place because I love the sunshine and I love the warmth and yeah, it's just all the good things. So if you have any questions for me about anything, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars,